Well, greetings and welcome to another episode of Lightbulb Moments. We're glad you're with us today. Whether you are joining us live, listening to the podcast, or watching the YouTube recording, we're glad you're spending two currencies with us today of our two out of our three currencies: attention, time, and money. Thanks for your attention and time. No money required. Well, here we are in November. And we are officially in season number 8, for those of you that are familiar with the 8 seasons calendar. And this is the season of thanks and giving. This is the time of year to not only make sure that you end strong, but also set the stage for what's next for next year. Also, at least at this point in time, as of last night, we've completed a pretty intense fall schedule of events. I just got back late last night from the Professional Beauty Association Executive Summit, which was attended by most of the C-level executives representing beauty brands, tech companies, associations, et cetera. And I always come back from that very grateful to have a seat at the table and to be part of this great event. And it was wonderful. Also, a quick note, Sydney Berry, a recipient of the Golden Light Bulb. I think there's only been, let me see here, 8 Golden Light Bulbs awarded. We will again award 2 Golden Light Bulbs at next May's Phil Conference. And Sydney is one of those recipients of the Golden Light Bulb from the Cunity Light Bulb Celebration of Light Bulb Moments. And yesterday, she was acknowledged with the first ever Industry Impact Award. So I did some posts on social for that. She's an amazing lady, and that was really a great ending to a great event. Today, before I get into our guests and our topic today, I did want to thank a couple of our sponsors, Lightheart Sanders, who I call a legacy sponsor because they've really been with us since the beginning of this podcast. Jared actually was listening to the podcast, and that's how we developed a relationship. So anyway, big shout out to our partners, the CPAs, and then also Zenoti, who also was well represented at the PBA Executive Summit and got to spend some time with their leadership team, a great group of people. So anyway, thanks to those sponsors. So today we have two great guests who I know pretty well, actually. I thought I knew him well until I got to know him getting ready for this. So you're going to catch me with some moments of surprise today myself. But anyway, it's really part of a theme that we have been working on behind the scenes, and that is to acknowledge several of these multi-location GMs, director of operations, whatever you want to call them, but in many cases, they're the number 2 within an organization. And so behind the scenes, Rebecca Ezolt, who is herself was in a role of being a number 2, a GM. Actually, she was a CEO, but she was not an owner. So she was technically the number 2. She has been interviewing and doing a series that you'll be seeing more in the future that would be not only be featuring Tina and Kacy, our guests today, but several others. So we really feel it's important to acknowledge and recognize these people who in many cases are behind the scenes, because often the owner is the one that has the spotlight is on, whether it's in the industry, whether in the business, but these are the people that behind the scenes are making sure that the engine is running and to make sure that everything happens the way it should happen. And in a sense, they're a little bit of unsung heroes. So I will introduce each of them. And with each introduction, I'll ask you to come off camera. Kacy, why don't you come off the camera first? So first we have Kacy Smith, who is the GM of James Griffith Salon, based down in Venice, Florida. 3 locations. I think soon to have 4. Maybe I wasn't even supposed to say that, but for the last 11 years, she's been growing with James Griffith, from greeting guests at the front desk to now leading as a general manager. What started out as a job quickly turned into a calling for Kacy, a place where she's learned the essence of teamwork, healthy challenges, and true connection. She is passionate about cultivating a culture where both the team and clients feel cared for. It's not just business, it's enhancing the way they do life. Good morning, Kacy. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
I'm thrilled to have you. But before we get into a little bit more about you, let's we introduce our second guest, who is the one and only Tina Ruiz, who is a business partner and salon director at Ruiz Salon in Austin, Texas, where she has been a dedicated leader for the last 11 years. Ruiz has two award-winning salons down in Austin, and soon to be relocating to another spot, which I'm sure has them working very hard these days. So she is drawing on an experience in the military and law enforcement. In short, Tina is a badass. That's my own editorial in there. She brings a strong foundation of discipline, accountability, and integrity to her leadership style. I would attest to that. Leads, coaches, and develops team daily with a focus on empowerment, education, and continuous growth. Tina's passionate about building strong, high-performing teams and creating elevated guest experiences, and plays a vital role in driving business success and fostering a culture of excellence. Good morning, Tina.
Morning.
And Tina, who I just saw recently, a couple different times, just completed a full Ironman triathlon. So one more piece of evidence about her being a bit of a badass, and told me a little bit earlier that she had to have top secret clearance. So I'm going to probe that one a little bit. But good morning to both of you. How are you?
Good morning.
And you guys have got to know each other a little bit, haven't you, through the years?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm so happy to be on here with Kacy. That was kind of a nice surprise.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Well, you come from different backgrounds, and Case, will start with yours. And you started out at the desk,
Mhm.
but then you also have some family element to this. So let's really start out with you, Kacy.
Mhm.
And I guess my question, so I'm clear on that, is take us back to the beginning.
Okay.
And how'd you find your way into professional beauty, and what led you to your current role?
Yeah. So as a child, my mom did hair and my aunt owned a shop. And so I was kind of always in the business. I loved it. I never necessarily saw myself doing it for a career or being behind the chair or taking over the scissors. But it's always been something that I've really enjoyed. And then later in life, I started working at the hotel at the Gasparilla Inn, which we share a building with. And so I worked for the spa, and that's how I met James and Christine in April. And then after moving away and coming back, I started working for James and Christine and been here ever since.
Why do I have something about doorknob? I circled something. You'll have to refresh my memory. I can't even remember. We talked something, but I circled it like I wanted to ask you about
Oh,
that.
okay. So in my Aunt Gail's shop, my favorite part was walking into the color room. There was this giant, the door was a mirror, and there was this gold clear knob with like a bunch of gold specks in it. It was like my favorite part. And I would just like sit there for hours and like stare at myself in the mirror and play with the doorknob. It was just fascinating. Yes. I
Isn't
don't know.
that funny how we remember those things and how it
Yeah.
makes an impact?
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
awesome. All right. So Tina, for you, take us back to the beginning. What led you to professional beauty and your current role?
Okay. I know probably a few of you have heard this story before, but so I come from a law enforcement and military background. I was abroad. I had been overseas for right around, I think, 9 years straight. When I came home, I had just ended one tour in Israel, and I came home to Texas waiting for a secret clearance, a top secret clearance to go through for me to go to Mexico City and teach the federales. So at this time, I'm basically training police officers. And while I was there, Alan and Heath had told me, I think most of you guys are familiar with them. Alan and Heath told me that they were about to open a second salon, and it would be a great time for me to jump in with them, which we knew that was going to happen eventually. We just didn't know when. Anyway, as I spent some time with the family and went with them to the salon and checked things out and was waiting for my clearance, It took about 30 days or so, and during that time, they had completely sold me on it, on the industry, and yeah, so I did an absolute U-turn, changed my mind. I flew to Mexico City, resigned my position, came back, and got started.
Wow.
Such different beginnings, right, folks? Wow. Awesome. Well, let's get on to the next question. I'm going to go with you. We'll follow sort of a cadence here. So, Kacy, with you, you bring unique experiences in your operational roles. You know, Kacy, for you, it's like front desk. How have you translated these skills into creating clarity in systems in the salon environment? And then what surprised you most about applying your expertise to professional beauty? So
So
we can
starting,
separate them into two questions. The first one is,
yeah,
how have you translated these skills, like at the desk, into creating clarity in systems in the salon environment?
yeah. So being at the desk, it kind of gave me a lot of like on-hand knowledge. It's been really great being able to have that like firsthand desk experience. I suppose coming in as somebody higher up might not have had that experience. And so it was really nice to be able to kind of grow with that. But knowing what we didn't have and then kind of going through the ranks, it was great having the leaders that I had at that time who gave me the opportunity to kind of like maybe develop some things that maybe we didn't have. And so over the years, they've just kind of grown and then now they're branded. And so I don't know, just simple organic growth, I suppose.
And anything surprise you in terms of applying your expertise in pro beauty from what you did before?
Um, Honestly, just the ease and the functionality of the salon and just the teams being more cohesive and more structured throughout each location and going from doing things a little bit different in each location to now having things a little bit more standardized and where the managers can talk to each other and we know what each other are talking about and stuff like that. So that's been a big deal.
So, Tina, for you, how have you translated your skills into your current job, the skills that you brought into from, law enforcement, military, et cetera?
Yeah, well, as you can imagine, being in the military and law enforcement, there's a lot of systems and processes and a lot of structure in those. So that was one of the things and that's my love language. Structure is my love language. I've totally bought in. That's who I am. And Ruiz had them. They're already in place. And so basically, I just kind of picked up the baton and started running with it. It just seemed so automatic, and it was just me honing in on those and kind of really leaning into that, because I think that it almost felt turnkey, but it was one of those things that I'm so good at enforcing and so good at just being able to manage. That was kind of my door.
Anything surprise you in terms of, applying your skills into pro beauty?
Yeah, I always tease when I'm asked about the industry because they seem so vastly different. And I always tease say, yeah, there's just a lot more emotion in the salon world than there is when you're training military or law enforcement. But no, seriously, it's that what was most surprising to me is the similarities. I mean, people are people. Everybody needs to be supported. They need to feel their worth. They need to be coached and trained, and they have, realized for the value that they have. And I noticed that regardless, it's the same thing. It's a little bit different maneuvering in the industries, but it's very similar.
That's a really interesting response. Yeah, certainly emotion. Yeah, of course. But yeah, people are people. That's a really interesting response. Let's get on to the next question. Kacy, over to you again. So every operational leader faces a moment where something isn't working. A system breaks down, communication fails, or growth creates chaos. What was your biggest operational challenge and the turning point to help you see it differently?
So are we going software with this one?
Are we what's that?
I said we're going software with this one. So, um, we had a lot of challenges in regards to just everyday ease at the front desk, and having such a large operation, being able to not have glitches was just kind of imperative, and we didn't realize like how much we were kind of like dealing with it until it was kind of too much. And so took a big jump and in switching softwares, but with everything new comes its own set of challenges, but everything's been going well, and yeah.
Where I thought you were going to go is you've had a few catastrophes down there.
Yeah.
Hurricane Milton,
Mhm.
Hurricane Ian.
Yeah.
Wasn't there another hurricane thrown in there too?
A couple.
I mean,
I don't know the names of them anymore.
these natural catastrophes have got
Yeah.
to just created huge
Mhm.
operational. Can't even imagine.
Right.
To think about opening up a new location, think about also recovering from a hurricane. So you
Right.
guys have, it's almost like, it's to me, it's shocking that that wasn't the first thing you brought up.
So with the first one, it was definitely a learning curve. And I mean, at least the first one that I had experienced with the salon, where we actually had to shut down for a lengthy period of time, and just having to reach out to those clients and try to get everybody back in, and the phone calls still coming in, and the hundreds of voicemails, and picking up the pieces, and everything that James and Christine and Diane had to do behind the scenes and stuff like that. But um I don't know, everybody has their own disasters, you know what I mean? We just kind of worked through it, and every one we just kind of learned something different and took the knowledge from the last one and applied it to this one. And so, not no more hurricanes, please, but I feel like we have a better system and a better routine now. If something were to impact the salon and closures and stuff like that, I do feel like we have better systems in place to be able to get the business back up and running more smoothly, I suppose.
It's a huge skill, disaster recovery.
Mhm.
There's companies that's all they do is disaster recovery. And all right, well, that's super interesting. How about you, Tina? So in terms of big operational challenges and maybe some turning points to help you see things differently, anything come to mind?
Yeah, actually, Casey, I love that you said software because we are enduring that right now. And I know that we're feeling the same growing pains that you probably did. So it's always nice to know you're not in it alone.
Right.
Um, but I was thinking, and I was like, I'd be amiss not to acknowledge the pandemic, which was, if you ask the biggest challenge I ever had, oh my goodness, that was the craziest. I know we all endured and all had the same challenges during that period, so it's not my answer. But gosh, that was, if you think about the biggest challenge, every day was something different. You're turning on the news, trying to see what the CDC is saying so you can change your way of making money for that day.
Mhm.
Luckily I had big brains behind me with Heath, but gosh, it was something else, and it was all hands on deck, everybody feeding, like trying to wrap their arms around it and figure out what to do next. So that was for sure, hands down, just something that was wow, what an incredible uh, time to be a part of the industry when you're just rolling with the punches and just trying to figure things out like that on the fly. But is outside of pandemic, this is kind of where I came up with this was that after that, they were giving out checks, and for our front desk, those checks were more than they were making, and it was a really tough to rebuild our front desk at the time. We lost people, we lost a lot of our manpower, and with that, we're rebuilding, and everybody we're bringing in, we're having to train and restart. So you're talking about all the scheduling errors, putting the wrong timings down, putting them with the wrong stylist, all the things that happen when you're lost sales opportunity because they don't know what they're doing yet. They don't even know what the products are, what's on that, what's on the floor, for them to look at. And then you have all the inconsistencies in hospitality, they don't know the Ruiz brand, the culture, the luxury that we are trying to offer with every single guest, every single time. And that really did push us, like back, it felt, and it was really um, putting a damp light, I think, on our typical, the way we do business. Um, So yeah, I think that was probably one of the biggest setbacks and one of the biggest things that I've been a part of since I've been with Ruiz Salon.
Okay. You know, my next question, I'm going to depth a little bit, and starting with you again, Kacy. So what advice would you give to other GMs, director of operations, who might be having go through something similar? For example, natural catastrophe or software change. Pick either or both.
Mm. And this is something that hits my heart, just because it's something that we are constantly needing to be better at, and it's just communication, whether it be with our teams, our peers, our clients, just making sure that everybody has full transparency and just knows what's going on. And I have to take my own advice. Sometimes I'm not the greatest with it. I think that I'm telling all my people, and then I walk in the back room and they're like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, how did I miss my own thing?" You know what I mean? So it's just making sure that everybody is in the know, more than you think they need to know. Like,
Yeah, yep. And you know, especially in multi-location where you're not all in the same building,
right,
the more locations you have, the more opportunities you have for communication breakdowns. And
right.
I know that you're practitioner 4 times 4 ways, and I'm sure in your own way. And you talk about the importance of over communicating. And so anything else for you?
Not
Kind of
right this
sum it
second.
up? What's that?
I said not right this second.
All right. So how about for you, Tina?
I think some of the takeaways I got from that were really that, you know, we do have great systems in place. One of the things that we did was we committed somebody fully to training the front desk to kind of expedite that a little bit and getting a consistent training across the board. We brushed off and dusted off our old checklist. We did, you know, made sure that we were doing test outs for every tiny, whether it just be a salon tour or a hand treatment, whatever it is, we were testing, we were making sure we were doing checklists and testing them out and stuff. And so really broke down all the functions and all the small systems and made sure that they were all working on, you know, on every cylinder, so that basically just slowed everything down, got everybody back up. And right now, I do believe that we have probably the strongest front desk team that I've had since I've been there.
Yeah, gotcha. So in terms of let's stay with the GM role a little bit longer, okay? And in particular, the role, and I'm using the word GM regardless of what someone's actual title is, but really what I'm referring to is somebody that generally manages more than one location, you know? So Kacy, for you, you've been at it now a while in 3 locations. What's the distance between the most northern and the most southern location? Is it
About an hour and 10 minutes, maybe.
okay? Any winning practices that you put in place to make sure that you stay connected with everybody, especially with a difference of an hour, you know, from between locations?
Yeah. So every morning, there's a text thread between myself and each of the location managers. And so it just kind of opens communication in the morning right from the get go, just making sure everybody has what they need in the morning. Most of it regards to staffing. Has anybody called out? Is anybody sick? Do we need to move anybody from one location to the other? Because we do have well, our flagship location in Venice is about 30 minutes roughly from one and 50 minutes to the other. And so if we need to ultimately send somebody to a different location, then that's on our side. And so that's been a really, really big help. It used to be a phone call, but sometimes the phone calls got a little lengthy. And so I was like, let's just start with a text. If anybody needs anything immediate, then we'll go from there. But it just kind of opens communication, not just to me, but to each other, and allowing them the opportunity to talk to each other has been really, really great.
Yeah. How about you, Tina?
Um, we have, trying to think of the, sorry, I was reading the comments and I kind of lost my place. So, can you please rephrase that one more time?
Yeah, so multi-location,
Mhm.
and there's nuances in that because there's distance between them, and so any winning
Right.
practices. Yep.
Yeah, actually, our best practice that we have right now is we have what we call a Tuesday huddle, and that involves everybody that makes decisions in each location. And so we'll kind of make sure everybody's on the same page. So basically, it is a Zoom call. We do it, it's a half-hour call, and it allows us to talk about our goals for the week, plus anything that's changing, any, again, staffing, people on vacation, any holes that need to be filled. And so that's kind of where we're at. We're fortunate right now where we're literally, I don't know, about a quarter of a mile away from each other. So switching personnel is super easy right now, but we are going to be a little further now, as you mentioned earlier. So we're not too bad. We're still only about 3.5 miles or so distance. In Austin, that could be 40 minutes driving. Uh, but yeah, so we're gonna be a little bit further. It's gonna, we know that that's gonna create a little bit of a new dynamic because, even if we just want inventory at one place or another, we can get it before that guest leaves. It's so easy to get, to switch things back and forth. So yeah, so we're gonna start filling that, even though, like I said, it's relatively closed. Traffic in Austin really makes things a little difficult to maneuver.
Yeah, I hadn't even realized until we were each other today that you do have you both at the same time are experiencing two major forms of disruption. One is the form of new software, and the other one is in the form of another location.
Mhm.
Kacy, what can you say? I'm not sure what you can or can't say about the other location, but do you want to give us just a little bit about that and how the process is going and move-in date and all that stuff?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know what I'm allowed to say either, but I'm just gonna say it. So, we have a projected date, but that date's changed a couple of different times, so that has its own stresses. But it's really just the excitement of a build out, and I've never been a part of it. I mean, James and Christine, obviously, this is going to be their fourth, and so it's new to me, and it's exciting, and it's like, but the to dos. My list is so long, and I'm just like, you would have never, not you, but I would have never realized like, oh, and it's just the notebooks for the front desk that we have to put together and the supplies and getting the right pens and it's like just the back bar and I never would have expected it to be it's literally it's everything. It's the tape dispenser that we have to get for that location. You know what I mean? And so that's really, really exciting. So it's new and it's sometimes a little scary, but it's great.
So this would be sometime next year, date to be determined. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. And
Hopefully season 1 or 2.
okay, so first or second quarter.
Yeah.
And are you buying a building? I should know this. I know James and Chris.
The building is being built in a downtown area and we will have a space in that.
Yeah, gotcha. Tina, how about for you? Have you been pretty active? You're right in the thick of it right now, aren't you?
We are hoping to have the new location open after Christmas.
Yeah.
So we're hoping to do the move then because we'll be able to get all of our guests taken care of for Christmas, and then we'll have that time where it's relatively quiet, ish between Christmas and New Year's, where people are all out of town and like hunkered down with family and stuff. So we're hoping that would be the ideal week for us to move.
So there's some other parallels between the two of you. Both of you, really part of, I'd say, a triad, in the sense that Kacy, as we well know, that James and Christine Griffith are the principals.
Mhm.
They are a couple, also great friends, and been clients, 2 to 10 members, whatever. And shout out to both of them; they're great humans, and so a family business. And what's it like to be a triad, or could it be a quadrad? Because I know Amy's been there too, but and I'm not going to poke the bear on this, even though the naughty part of me is inclined to do that. But what's it like for you?
Well, I mean, family business is all I've really ever known. And not only like with my mom being a hairdresser, she also owns a health food store. And so my whole life has like been in the understanding of what family business is. And so coming here is just like, it was just really natural. And James and Christine are literally just like some of my favorite people in the world. And they're so easy to want to like come to work for. And it's like, I don't feel like I'm at a job anymore. Like, it's just like, I know they sometimes say like you don't always want it to be like a family when it's not your family, but it's just they have such a big place in my heart and I would not be where I am today without them. And so being with them and growing in this company has just been a huge honor. And it's like it's really beautiful to see like how far the business has come and how far I've come just literally personally. So I owe a lot to them. So it's
Yeah.
nice. There's nothing
Wow.
to they're great.
Tina, in your particular case, you have your brother Alan, and you also have Heath Smith, who also are life partners in addition to business partners. And so, what's that like for you?
Oh, it's actually, I love that because as you were saying, as you were asking Kacy, I was thinking about my wife told me the other day, I think it was 2 days ago, she said something about having my best friends over and she was talking about Alan and Heath. And so that is truly, kind of the way it is. We really do spend a lot of time outside of work together. And I mean, the relationships is really strong and I learned so much. I mean, I don't know that I would have necessarily been easily brought into the beauty industry had it not been with them. There's just a lot of similarities. I like, the structure they build to it, the love, the passion that they have. It really just resonated soundly enough for me to go, yes, this is a place I want to be. This is what I want to do.
Mhm.
Over the years, I've certainly seen dysfunction and family business, couples and the third leg to the stool and all that. But in this particular case, we don't have dysfunction. I know both of these businesses well enough that you are the positive example of a highly functioning environment where you've got family business, but you also have people, and Tina, you're actually part of the family. And I know, Kacy, you feel like you're part of the family. So, but that's a really interesting topic. All right, we got to start moving into wrap up. So, Kacy, let's looking ahead. Okay. And what's next for you? Any systems you're developing or challenges, tracking, goals you're working towards that excite you?
Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely have a goal. And opening this new location is obviously a huge part of this goal. In opening it, it is giving us the opportunity to look over systems again that we already have in place, but how can we make them better? How can we make them more efficient? How can we make them spread easier to the masses? And so that's a big initiative with just like new hire and orientations and making sure that everybody has everything that they need in order to feel successful coming in. So
Tina, how about for you? Looking ahead, what's next for you? Systems you're developing, challenges you're tackling, goals that excite you?
Yeah, we have a key member of our leadership team is leaving us soon. She'll be leaving in mid December. She's our guest care manager, and she manages and hires for both of our salons, and does the front desk. And does all the training, recruiting, all everything basically to do with them. So we are restructuring a little bit. We're doing away with that position and putting that person into the salons. So we just casted and hired for both, and so it's a little bit of a change, and I want to take a bigger step in that with the training and making sure it's the way it's structured, that we continue on the path that we were on and keep really good training in place. And so yeah, I'm really looking forward to that and seeing how that irons out.
Any light bulb moments for you, Kacy, that has popped up recently? Just different things that just have that aha moment that, something where an idea just connects or there's an insight or whatever. Maybe it came at 2 to 10. Any light bulb moments from 2 to 10 for you that you took away from that caused you to reframe things?
Oh my gosh, you put me on the spot, and there definitely was one, and I feel like I need to look through my notes. I can't think right now. Um, oh
I'll
gosh,
go to
can you
Tina.
skip me? Yeah,
Okay.
skip me really fast.
I'll go to Tina. How about you? You were 2 to 10. Any light bulb moments to jump out at you?
Goodness, I have basically the same answer as Kacy. I have a list of things that I was like, these are things I would love to implement. One of the ones that comes to mind immediately is we really wanted to lean into Google reviews. We send out thank you notes for all of our brand new guests, and it's handwritten notes from the stylist. And one of the things that we had considered doing is putting the QR code in them to ask for that Google review, because we don't like soliciting that inside the salon or putting out, sending us a review, doing all that. And so we thought it would be a more uh, a gentler nudge to get the information that we'd like to have. And so that's one of them. But there was a few other things that there's so many good ideas that we got from 2 to 10. I mean, so many little nuggets that were just like, oh, what if we did this? And, you listen to other people and then you the ideas and what they're doing and their success, and you go, how would we implement that, and would it work for us? Like, and what would it look like if we did that in our salon? So yeah, I got a few other ideas.
Anything come to mind for you, Kacy?
Yes, yes. So, and it's more so just making sure that we're implementing them. And so, I mean, we have these amazing tools, obviously. And so it's really just the last part of the Heath class while we were there, just being able to sit down with the four of us and really like start a plan for next year and kind of get that underway, especially with all of the things, the holiday and the new salon. It's like thinking past that. It's like, okay, what do we already have in front of us? And what needs to run right now, And so just being able to kind of get that pace started and then bring it back to our leaders and kind of like break it down and who's doing what. So it's the execution. So it's making
Mm.
sure that it plays out.
We did have a question, and I'm going to jump in on this. Do you think these ideas are realistic to implement in a school setting? I absolutely think what you mentioned, Kacy, in particular, you're both very familiar with 8 seasons
Mhm.
and really the planning system, which absolutely applies into a school environment. So thanks for that question by our guest. All right, we're going to move up into wrap up. And Kacy, back to you for one more question. So Thanksgiving is coming up next week. How will you be spending Thanksgiving?
Oh, great question. I got a house at the beginning of the year, and so this is going to be my first hosted Thanksgiving in the new house. And so we're just going to have a bunch of family over, and yeah, just I don't know, just enjoy each other's company and just relax.
Wow. All right. Tina, how about you?
Same time with family. I think we're hosting here. We have the kids are coming over, and we have a few friends that we've invited already. So it'll just be a nice little football watching Thanksgiving feast over here.
Wonderful. Well, thanks for being such a great guest. Everybody, let's give them a virtual round of applause. Put a note in the comment if you're with us live or the podcast or YouTube notes. And each of you should be now getting, I think this might be the first for each of you, your $1,000,000 light bulb, which makes you part of the brain trust that makes up the light bulb moments. So thanks to both of you. Great answers, great responses. You guys are awesome. We're going to get some more of your peers on here. And thanks for spending your precious time with us today.